Alright, welcome back. In this segment, we are going to be going over the images and texts. So we'll start off with text. There's a couple of text options you have here. You have your titles. Usually gives you a single line of text and will allow you to edit and put in titles for each of your sections. You can increase the size using the plus and minus. It's not like Word where it provides you an actual point value. Instead, you have to just kind of add or minus out, and it does have a limit to how big it can get and how small it can get. You can change the color of your font by clicking here next to the A. I'm just going to make it a purplish color. You can make it bold. You can italicize it, and you can underline it. Now, if you are to make this a link to another location, either in your site or potentially outside to another location, it does have a link button here. And when you create a link, you can see you can choose from a standard URL where you could just enter in this case defaults to google.com. And you also get the option to click open link in a new window. I would suggest always making sure if you're going to link to an outside URL that it opens in a new window. That way, if somebody still wants to go back to your website, it doesn't override it. They don't have to go click the back button a bunch of times. They can just open a new window and then quickly switch between the two. Down here, you have a standard page. This will allow you to link to any location inside of the Weebly site. In this case, it's set to home. I'm going to set it to the contacts page, just for this case. You also have a store page down here. We're not really messing around with the stores in this project, so we really don't need to use that. Down here at the bottom, you have File, where you can actually link to a specific file that you may have on your website. This will be really useful if you want to provide a link to, let's say, more material, further reading, or potentially a project that you guys are working on, some sort of worksheet, whatever it happens to be, a handout. This would be where you'd set that up. At the bottom, you can also link to an email address. So if you want this to go directly to an email address, or when you click it, it pops up with your email address, you could do this as well. Right now, I'm just going to select standard page. I'm going to select contacts. I'm going to hit save. So now, when I run this, I can go to the contacts page by simply clicking this test button. It basically just turns into a link to one of your other pages. I can choose any of these. I can left indent. I can set it centered. I can make it justified. I can just change the alignment using this option here. And then over on the side here, I can remove any of the formatting that I originally did, changing it, getting rid of my link, getting rid of the underline, whatever I had originally put in here, I can change. And I can also just click undo or redo here at the end. Now, there's also a text. Now the text box is a little different. It's going to give you multiple layers, and in this case, the text box is a little different. This will give you multiple layers. In this case, I can type in multiple levels like I would any text box. I have the same exact options I had before. I can bold this, I can italicize, I can underline, I can change the font size. I could change the color, I can link, I can change the alignment. But I also have a couple of other options where I can actually bullet any of these. I can number them. And then, just like before, we have remove formatting and undo. Those are really your only two major text abilities that you have while working on this project. One of the other pieces that you can check out is the images. Now, when it comes to images, you have three different forms. You can just have a static image where I can drag in a basic image. Now, as you can see here, once we bring up the image selector, we can go to my computer where I can upload a file from my computer. I can go to search. I can search their website for stock images, although some of them cost money, so I would avoid these. You can find favorites, so if you do find any of those images you like, when you search their database, you can favorite them. Or you can find an image from the internet and just enter the URL from somewhere on the web, and it'll automatically pull that over. What I'm going to do is pick a file from my computer. So I'm going to click Upload File from your computer. Alright, I am going to choose this US Embassy. Now it'll upload the file. Now, as you can see, here is my picture of the US Embassy, and I have uploaded it. I can edit this picture. I can change its size and its scale. I can resize the image down, and I can change its alignment, left or right or center. I can change the light box and whether or not I want to have an outline around it. I can also make this a link. So if you wanted to make this a button where you can click on it and link to another location, similar to how the text links work, the same options are available. I can change the spacing, and in this case here, it's the spacing along this box on the top and the bottom between the last box that you put in. So for example, I've got this test section. I could change the margin between these two locations. So with captions, you can click on captions and you can enter in a descriptor. So I want to put in, let's say, house. Then at that point, now this should pop up with the house. I can also go to advanced. In this case here, I can change the border. I can put in an alternate text. I can change the color box on the outside from black to gray. Most of these I wouldn't mess with too much. There's very minimal changes that it'll wind up doing to your video. So I would just keep that to a minimum. Just stick with dealing with the link, spacing, and captions. Now, this isn't the only option you have for images. You can also add in what's called a gallery. So, in this, it works very much the same. I can upload gallery photos from your computer. I'm going to take all of these images, click upload, and now, as you can see, I've got 3 images that have popped up as a gallery photo. Now, with these here, you have the same options to link, delete, or add a caption. In this, unlike with a single photo, we have the added options of adding another image, or adding the columns from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. You can change the spacing, add captions, and once again, I would leave the advanced alone. I wouldn't really get into that stuff. Now, the last option you have is what's called a slideshow. Now, with the slideshow, unlike the other ones, this allows you to have a single image that has multiple other images that you can choose from, much like you would with a PowerPoint. With this, unlike with a gallery where it's just all of the images showing up all at once, you only get one image. The advantage is that using a slideshow, they get the full resolution picture as opposed to small thumbnails of the images themselves. Now, there are multiple styles that you can choose from. For example, you have just a simple slideshow, which will allow the user to scroll between the different images that are available. You also have ones that have different thumbnails available, where they have a small sample of the image on the bottom that when you click on it, it opens up into a larger image. Now, these come in a couple of different styles, where you can have on the thumbnails on the bottom, thumbnails on the top, thumbnails on the right. You can have a double listing of thumbnails, or if you don't want thumbnails at all, you just want them to be numbered pictures, you can just pick them as just numbers on the bottom. I'm going to pick thumbnails on the bottom and hit continue. Now, just like before, it has upload photos from your computer. So I'm going to select same photos as before, hit open. Now, as you can see, it has uploaded all of these images up. Now, once again, I have the option to add a link, to add a caption, or remove the image completely. When I'm ready, I can click save. If I want to add more photos, I can click add more photos. Right now, I'm just going to hit save. Now, as you can see, here's the first image of me at my brother's wedding. and I have a couple of control options. I can hit play, and it will just sort of step through all of the photos, or I can use this selector and click through them. I can also click down here and click on any of the images that I want to change to that image. On the actual toolbar, you can then select your transition styles. They provide slide, mosaic, slice, or fold. Let's choose fold. So now you can see it adds that nifty little folding screen. Most of them are just gimmicks. But however you want to change them, I'll let you guys go through them as much as you want. You guys can choose whichever one you want. Now, when it comes to the actual slideshow itself, if you click on navigation, you can choose the navigation style as thumbnails. You can choose the navigation style at the bottom. So if I wanted to, I could change this and set it at the top. I could change it and set it to the left or to the right. Much in the same way that you chose at the very beginning, I can then go through and restyle these again later. The speed, you can change how long when you hit play it stays on each photograph. Spacing, captions, and advanced are pretty much the same. Spacing just changes the distance between the last box you put in and the newest one. Caption will allow you to show where the captions are going to show up. And advanced, once again, I wouldn't bother with it. Now, these are the ways to set up text and images into your project. These will basically be the bread and butter of your website. Most of the stuff you'll be adding in will be text and images for your project. Now, once again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me on the contacts page and shoot me an email. Thank you very much.